Once upon a time there came a horrible snake-like being to the deeper mines. It killed many miners because that snake was a basilisk. A horrible being with a gaze that could turn living beings into stone. Many heroes tried to kill it but none succeeded. Some fled but most died. One day a wise man came whose name is forgotten. He had some knowledge about these horrible creatures. He advised the miners to cover the mine walls with torches and lamps. Scared by the disposed bright light, the basilisk retreated deeper and deeper into the mines until the miners managed to create a cave in behind it. If the miners I talked to did not make fun of me, we have to assume that the basilisk is still there. Most pages of that book are unreadable, stained with blood and parts are burned. Horrible screams, blinding light, pain happening, no one. The light, closer, brighter, no visibility, farewell. What it was, I cannot say, but it's horrible, horrible. We heard rumors of such things before, but we just ignored them. I'm the only survivor. That thing, they couldn't move. They were helpless. Oh why, what is that? Something is coming. My feet. Stone.
We have to look at the inconspicuous to try to tackle this mystery. If you have a keen eye you might have noticed it already. What does these books have in common? The ones that have documented their encounter, write of blinding lights that come closer and closer, followed by turning into stone. For some reason, the basilisk is also afraid of these lights, and a mysterious man knew about this apparent weakness. Why is the basilisk afraid of light? It's almost as if something is causing bright lights, and we're using the basilisk, then left it there. In the Serpentine Tower, we can find some interesting papers. These papers describe the same phenomena as we saw going down in the mines.
The stone skin spell is still flawed. The test subjects complained about severe problems when moving, and some actually suffered from partial paralysis or even from acute petrification. However, I still believe the spell might be useful as some sort of emergency measure because I imagine that turning oneself into a statue for a while might come in handy when all other options have failed. Oddly enough, it is quite simple to focus the spell into an object, preferably an amulet, so the change is still bound to an object that serves as a transmitter. The work on the cat eye spell is progressing well. Soon we will be able to reproduce this spell that is used by several of the elder races. Once this has been accomplished, we will finally be able to see in the dark without attracting unwanted attention. The problem is to stabilize the spell so it can be maintained during a predictable period of time. Also, the hurtful effect of sudden light to the spellcaster must be palliated.
Surely there must be something to this. The paper on cat eye spell even talks of a hurtful and sudden light. Exactly like we saw in the encounters with the basilisk. Now we have to look at another phenomena on the same continent before we can get more answers.
The ghosts of the jungle. Even though it is true that many people who have not returned from the jungle have fallen prey to animals and other natural dangers, it is quite sure that not in all cases this explanation is applicable. For all we know, it is quite certain that there have to be other dangers in the jungle than such mundane ones. How can it be explained that several watchmen of expeditions have vanished overnight while none of the people asleep in the camp was harmed? How is it possible that well-armed and seasoned adventurers got lost in the jungle? Considering the expertise of some of the victims this jungle has taken, it would be highly ignorant to assume that a simple beast of some kind could be the source of their ultimate doom. In conclusion, we have to assume that something is out there. A malicious, unseen power. Never seen but often felt. Noticed only by the inner eye but never actually seen. Everybody that has ever set foot in the jungle knows this eerie feeling of being watched and traced. Sometimes you can almost imagine the movements of something invisible in the bushes. And do all those glowing eyes in the darkness belong to animals? I don't think so.
It does sound like this book is talking about the Midnight Panther, a stronger beast that can turn invisible. However, I'm inclined to think that the answer is not that simple. The author does not think that the eyes in the darkness belong to animals either. So whose are they? We need to look at one more book before we can finally put the pieces together.
Abductions by unknown magical objects, UMO, have been reported from the earliest days of mankind and even before. Above all, fertile races have been targets of these abductions. Orcs lead the statistics of known abductions by UMOs, followed by mankind. This suggests that breeding purposes are the main reason for these abductions. Only about 1/3 of the abducted beings return, albeit with a lack of memory. Their relatives often report that the personality of the abducted has changed in a disturbing way. The UMOs are often described as floating colorful lights accompanied by a phenomenon that resembles a paralyzed spell. Even if a group encounters such an UMO, only particular individuals are abducted. Several of those who had been returned became victims of such abductions repeatedly. Considering their abilities, it is obvious that the UMOs are somehow connected to the magic forces. Furthermore, the UMOs seem to be entities rather than vehicles or something like that. Some scientists believe that the UMOs have developed from pure magic to sentient beings, probably caused by some experiments by an extinct race during the God Wars. According to another valid theory, the UMOs are actually souls of an extinct race that has been banished into the astral realm by some catastrophe. Since they do not have a body of their own, they abduct beings in order to create new host bodies through breeding. Taking into consideration for how long the abductions have been taking place now, the UMOs must have made some progress. There might even be agents of them among us in a human or orcish body who work hand in hand with their bodiless brethren. These agents infiltrate society to further their own cause, either by looking for appropriate breeding candidates or by discrediting and withholding records about UMO activities. They might also initiate smear campaigns to ruin the reputation of researchers who are close to uncover their dark secret. Since governments are a major target of infiltration, one wonders who is the driving force behind certain secret services and their activities. Did the Venorian trade ship in the far north really have an accident, or was it an attempt to prevent that the ship discovered a hidden UMO base? The more we ask for answers, the more silence we find. Is this evidence that infiltration is real and that the minions of the UMOs are among us? I think yes, it is. Be aware. Always look up to the sky when it's dark.
Now it's time to see what's going on. The big reveal takes place in the snaky place full of lizards, the Forbidden Temple. Could this be a secret base for UMOs? There's a hidden poem here, let's read it and find out.
Snake eyes in trance you dance you hiss. Snake arms seize you squeeze you hiss. Snake teeth munch you crunch you hiss. Lizard of gold lizard of old, salamander of fire salamander of ire. Snake eyes lord. Peel your skin, give to him, hiss. Eat fire, meat pyre, hiss. Poison tears, burn your fears, hiss. Burn world to ashes, burn world with flashes. Let us be stars in night, let us be sunfire bright. Snake eyes lord.
Can you see it now? The lizards knows magic that turns them invisible and creates a burning bright light. This is evident in the burnt books we found in Kazardune, and these lizards wanted to burn the world with flashes. What more is that the cat eye spell is not really cat eyes per se. In truth, it's lizard eye spell. The floating lights, or UMOs, are in reality invisible lizards whose eyes stay visible. In Chandar, right next to Ankraman, we find the lizards' village, where snake charmers carry dead snakes on them. In the middle of the village they have a sacrificial stone and a sundial. This must be a place for rituals performed at certain times, as suggested by these other books we find in the Serpentine Tower. What they do with the snakes can be found underground or in their old settlement in Benuta. They are creating strong monsters out of these snakes. The research paper on the stone skin spell now suggests that not only amulets can be imbued with paralyzing powers, a snake, or should we call it, the basilisk, was likely imbued and used as a tool, hence why it's afraid of bright lights itself. So why do we find the basilisk in Kazardune? Because the mines are filled with gold and gems. Remember, the Forbidden Temple was created out of gold and gems. Do you think that I've shown you all there is to this? Well, no. With these tools, we can connect another place in Tibia to the Serpentine Tower. A place where they conducted much of their research, described in the research papers. This is only the beginning, the first stepping stone in a huge puzzle.